This video is going to be a more advanced version of the video I did almost a year ago now. It's February 2020. That video on my YouTube channel is called Do This to Change Our Mood in Any Workplace Situation. Now that it's been a full year since I've done those videos, I think it's time to provide some added insight. I covered this concept much greater depth and much greater length in a video that's only available to my members called Why Emotional Intelligence Predicts Career Success. If you're interested in accessing it, it's only $35 a year. It does support the ongoing work that I'm doing on this channel, so please go there, become a member, and you can access that and over 50 other hours of training videos on even deeper insights than you'll ever find on my YouTube channel. The YouTube channel content is more of a primer. So in this video, I'm going to go deeper, and I'm going to pull in another very important tool to help us with our method to improve our own emotional intelligence. Keep watching, and you're going to be able to level up your own. Hi, my name is Shawn Sommerkamp, and this is Motivationeer Christian Coaching. I post 2 videos a week, so please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you can be reminded when I do. Please also consider becoming a member at Motivationeer.com. Your membership really supports this channel. Thank you. Here's a quick review of that video that I did a year ago to kind of bring us up to speed. Practicing a technique on how we can change our emotions in the moment, any given situation, is scientifically known as cognitive restructuring. You can actually do some research online and find a lot of great stuff about it. It's the foundation of cognitive behavioral therapy, which is a very successful method of dealing with very intense emotional imbalances. Now, as a quick reminder, emotional intelligence is our ability to be aware of how we're feeling in any given moment, as well as the feelings of others, and then to adapt our emotions in that specific situation successfully. This is why emotional intelligence is a predictor of career success. At this point, you're going to already know your 5 core values. You'll have them in hand because you've already done my core values assessment. If you haven't done that assessment yet, you can just search on my YouTube channel here for core values, and you can get a link to download it. So step 1 is to note how you're feeling in a given situation. Specifically, using a feeling word. We don't want to say things like, yeah, I feel like choking somebody. That's not a feeling. That's more of something we're telling ourselves, but we want to use the feeling, I feel angry. It's very important. I'm going to get to that in just a moment. Step 2 is where we ask ourselves what I refer to as the first power question, where we say, what am I telling myself right now that's making me feel this way? And then we answer that question. We do so by going dark and deep. The importance of this step is to connect the inner dialogue with how we're feeling emotionally. This reminds us that we are in control of our emotions. Because of what we can tell ourselves, we can change it and change our emotions. Step number 3 is where we state out loud, confidently, with conviction, those 5 core values. I do it as a prayer, but I do it really with energy, saying, wait a minute, God, you made me to be a man of fun, emotional health, spirituality, leadership, and truth. That's who you made me to be. When we do this, that 3rd step, as I mentioned in the first video a year ago, is when we have that energy shift, because we're no longer focusing on the negative lie about ourselves, and we're instead focusing on what's true about ourselves. This is not the power of positive thinking. It's the power of truthful thinking. And I believe what illustrates Philippians 4 verse 8 very nicely. Whatever is true about you, pure about you, admirable about you, noble about you, excellent about you, if anything is worthy of praise, think about such things. This is what's going to create that high level of energy. And what we are doing here is making good on the promise of Romans chapter 12 verse 2. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. When we have that high level of energy, when we've been transformed, we can see the way forward clearly and test what God wants from us. Test and prove, which is the end of Romans 12:2, so that we can test and prove what God's will is. In the last year, and with hundreds of hours of executive coaching behind me, I discovered not everybody is that great at fulfilling that first step in that process, identifying with a real feeling word what they're experiencing in that moment. So now I'm going to introduce a new tool to use. It's a resource called the Plutchik Wheel of Emotion. It looks more like a flower. I agree. I wish they would call it the Plutchik Flower of Emotion, but they don't. It's based on the research done by a guy named Robert Plutchik. He's no longer alive. I think he died in 2006. But he was the professor at USF and got his PhD at Columbia University. He did a ton of research into emotional intelligence. And very specifically, I want to read this so I get it right, he developed a psychoevolutionary theory of basic human emotions. And from that research, he created this flower that simplifies identifying our emotions. So what I'll ask you to do is when you're exercising that step 1, practicing it, pull the wheel out, maybe save it as an image on your phone. I'm going to leave a link below so you can download this exact wheel as a PNG file. Open it up and spend some time looking through it, identifying the feeling. You'll notice the very center of the flower is the really intense, raw emotions. And as you go outward to the outer rings, to the very tip of the flowers, you'll see those emotions get less intense. And then between the tips of the flowers are a combination of each of those emotions on either side. A great thing to get used to. The reason why is so important because it's based on the EI-EQ research by 2 doctors, Dr. Peter Salovey and Dr. John Mayer. They were the forerunners of emotional intelligence research, even though everybody now thinks it was Daniel Goleman, I forget his name. He actually wrote a book partly based on their research. So if you do some looking up of what emotional intelligence is, you'll see they wrote a book on it. I'm not going to get into that, but their experiment involved showing a group of people an upsetting film, and then afterwards would ask the people to describe how they were feeling. What they discovered, very interestingly, those who could actually put a feeling word on how the upsetting film affected them were able to get out of that negative emotion much faster. Those who couldn't quite identify the feeling, that were more describing it as actions, not feelings, took much longer to get rid or shed that negative feeling from the film. Using the Plutchik Wheel of Emotion, we get much better at identifying how we're feeling. When we identify specifically from step 1 how we're feeling, and then we ask ourselves and answer the power question, it gives us a much better opportunity to identify the right feeling that we've caused inside ourselves. Then we state our 5 core values, and now I'm going to add a step 4. This is where we ask and answer power question number 2. Based on my 5 core values, what is a better thing to tell myself about this situation? We want to use one of our core values in the reframing sentences, one or more, because we have now focused away from the lies, the negative thinking that cause a negative emotion, told ourselves our 5 core values, which are true. So we've now focused on truthful thinking. This is not positive thinking. This is truthful thinking. And now we can visualize how we're going to feel based on telling ourselves this new thing about the situation using our core values. This is a profoundly important and powerful final step where we can now envision the new way of behaving by thinking of our core value. Really thinking of the core value in action. And this is going to take practice because as hard as it is for step 1, us to identify the actual feeling, it is a little hard to reframe the negative thought using our core values. Please practice this with other people. Teach other people about this, your close friends, your colleagues, your boss, maybe a spouse, a roommate. Show them this video and then start practicing this together, these 4 steps. And what you're going to find is your emotional intelligence is going to really start increasing because you'll not just know how you're feeling, you'll understand why because of your own internal dialogue, and you'll be able to intentionally shift it by changing that internal dialogue to what is true about you. Share the wheel of emotion, the flower of emotion, the Plutchik's flower, with other people as well. It'll be great to kind of get good at identifying with these people you're practicing with the specific emotion. So as we're sharing the wheel and practicing it, practicing the 4 steps, let's be sure as we start to experience that shift to give God the glory. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for 2 new videos each week. Tell me in the comments below about your career situation, and I'll make a video for you with a shout out. You can also become a member at Motivationeer.com. Your career is not just a way to make a living, it's a way to transform the world.